So the sixth chapter of this book was dedicated to the Umayyad kingdom. And I call them a kingdom because they were the first to wear crowns and have thrones and frankly act like kings. And while the Umayyads ruled for only around 89 years, their legacy was absolutely monumental for both good reasons and not so good reasons as well. So Muawiyah was the first to really stabilize the Islamic Caliphate. And he was the first ruler after Abu Bakr to not get assassinated. But right after him came Yazid, his son, who brought a lot of terror and destruction to the ummah, not only killing Hussein, but also sacking the city of Medina. And so this led to a civil war between the Muslims, and Mecca was actually ruled for 9 years by Abdullah ibn Zubayr, a contender to the throne, who actually rebuilt the Kaaba as a rectangle, by the way, its original shape. Not a lot of people know this, but the Kaaba is still a rectangle today. It's just that the extension of it is currently covered by the Hijr of Ismail. And it's sort of like an open-air portion of the Kaaba. So if you pray inside of that, you're actually praying as if you're inside the Kaaba. You're literally inside the Kaaba. And so I give all of my references and everything. In fact, the Prophet ﷺ had wanted to make it a rectangle again, but he was afraid that his people would find it too difficult to accept, and they would leave Islam because they were still new to their Islam. Anyway, then you had rulers like Malik ibn Marwan, who brought back stability to the ummah after the civil war. Though he used a lot of violence, and even though he used a lot of violence, he even built the foundations of future Muslim governments. So for example, he made Arabic into a literary language for the first time, making all government services and documents in the Arabic language. This had never been done before him. He also made standardized coinage, and he created a rapid relay system, basically where he had runners on horseback go from different points to different points so that they could deliver letters from one end of the kingdom to the other in a very quick way. He also began the amazing Umayyad architecture and was responsible, for example, for the building of the Dome of the Rock that is in Jerusalem today. It still stands there. These were things that brought the Muslims to a higher level of civilization, and it brought a lot of respect for the Muslims as a real empire with soft power on top of their already hard power, something that they had never had before. And then, of course, there was Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, who is often considered another Rashidun Khalifa because of just how he brought back justice and the rule of law to the people. Though his reign was very short, only about 3 years, and it's possible that his own family had him assassinated. There was also a lot of bad that came from the Umayyads, such as the Mawali system, which basically refused to give the rights of Muslims to any non-Arabs, even if those non-Arabs converted to Islam. So this meant, for example, that often non-Arabs would have to pay zakat as Muslims under the Sharia, while also having to pay the jizya as non-Muslims, among other abuses of their rights. Then there was the last generation of the Umayyads, of course, who were absolutely corrupt to the core. One famous ruler, for example, he set up party palaces in the desert, and he lived out there for days, drinking alcohol and playing with women who were not halal for him, debaucherous and irresponsible, to say the least. So there was a lot of good and a lot of bad that came from the Umayyads. And of course, not every ruler was the same. There was quite a few Umayyad rulers. And so I try to go over each one, each era, each ruler, with as much objectivity as possible, and to give a realistic picture of who these people were and what they accomplished and what they brought to the Muslim Ummah. So if you're interested in the book, go to my website and pre-order the book now. I will literally write your name into the book as an honor for you being one of the original backers of this project. But this is only for the people that pre-order during this Ramadan only. May Allah honor your name with a legacy that the Ummah will never forget. And may the generations of people who read this book hundreds of years from now know that it was you who was the reason that this book could even exist in the first place.